Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mitchell Blake with FISHIBX. Today I wanted to bring you guys an episode that's simply on casting a spinning rod and reel combo. I get a lot of customers from all walks of life that come in fishing. Some are very advanced, some are beginners, and it's just one of those things I thought that I would post a topic on. If you're thinking about getting started in fishing, or maybe you want to take your kids fishing and don't quite know the ins and outs of it, just want to take a minute to do a little session here that may advance that curve, that learning curve. For some people, they've been doing it all their lives. It comes natural, and they have an understanding of it, or maybe they've had enough experience to understand what's going on with the rod and reel combo. To start out with, there are a ton of nice rods and reels on the market now. A lot of them are very advanced and do specific things. There's all kinds of rod and reel combos that do specific situations or for specific styles of fishing. This is a pretty common 7-foot medium light with a 2500 Florida reel on it. I do have it loaded with braid. A lot of people now do fish with braid, and if you look here, I've got a fluorocarbon leader attached to a jig head. I don't have a soft plastic on it right now, but this is just for demonstration purposes. If you look here, that leader's probably 23, 24 inches long, and depending on what you're fishing for, your style of fishing or what have you, will determine your leader length. But here's what I want to take note of to start out with. I tie a double uni knot, which is somewhat of a fat knot. I think there's several knots that you can tie now that may slim down, but double uni was around whenever I started fishing, and so far I've just continued to stick with it. What I can tell you is, if you reel this knot through the eyes of a rod with braided line on it, and you go to make a cast, that knot will tick through those eyelets, and it will slow that braid down, and the counter reaction to that, or the reaction from that knot going through the eyes, will sometimes cause you an issue, cause wind knots. I've seen it 1,000 times. Just when you go to make a cast, the speed of that line is trying to release out of the reel, and then you've got a knot that tick, tick, tick that's slowing it down. So you've got two different speeds taking place. And if you're not careful, it will cause wind knots in that reel. Therefore, a lot of people say, hey, I don't care for braid, or some people love it, some people hate it. Anyway you look at it, it's expensive to respool braid continuously. It's a great line, no stretch, a lot of feel, it's got a lot of positives to it, but wind knots are definitely a negative. And that one little thing can help you out on wind knots. I'm going to show you a couple other things. In getting to the design of a rod and reel, I'm right-handed. I actually fish with the rod in my right hand, and you can switch this to right or to left. The customer that I had on the boat fished with their left hand. They were left-hand dominant, so therefore they reeled with their right hand. If you're right-hand dominant, if that's what's comfortable to you, and you need to reel with your left hand, it's just as simple as this. All you do is back that cap off, that cover. You will unscrew this handle. You can place it on either side that you wish to place it on. I can fish either side, but I'm showing you guys this just for the video. You snug it back tight, put your cap back on. And like I say, it's very easy to switch. If you're on the water, just be careful that you don't drop a component. If I've got a new person getting on the boat, sometimes they don't know whether they're right-handed or left-hand dominant. I will have people sometimes that will grab the reel and actually reel backwards, and it will unscrew that handle. That's a no-no. You always want to crank forward to retrieve. Right-handed or left-handed, does not matter. Simple mechanism on this. And actually, before I get to that, in reeling right-handed or left-handed, sometimes I will have people that will flip this upside down. To them, it may feel right side up. And, you know, maybe they bass fished all their life, or maybe they started out with a Zebco, or maybe they started out with a bait caster and the reel's on top. But for spinning, the reel goes underneath. That's the way this is designed naturally. That's the way it's balanced. It's not balanced to hold that. You're actually physically trying to balance that up if you hold it this way. So, reel down, right hand, left hand, whichever you prefer. And, you know, sometimes I may have someone that gets on the boat that starts out with it like this before. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing this video, so people can watch it before they get on a boat. If you're booking a charter, you can actually see it. I think it's something, I think it's a very important aspect. In rod design, on a spinning rod, every rod has a natural backbone. It's the way they make them. Every rod will have a backbone in it. That's that rod's natural design to bend. Otherwise, this rod, if you bend it this way, it's out of balance. From the factory, every rod, they find the backbone in it. They apply the guides on the belly of the rod per se. So when you're catching fish, that thing is naturally balanced. Otherwise, that is extremely awkward, and it goes against the mechanics of the rod. Wrong all the way around. Spin that thing over where it's balanced. Okay. Reel handle's tight. I actually hold the rod and reel between these fingers. So that way I have complete control. When a fish bites, I can set the hook. If it's a larger fish and I need leverage, you've got your forearm. When I go to make a cast, I've got complete control of the rod. I can make a strong, accurate cast, a distant, you know, I can cast distance, I can cast accurately, all by the way that I'm holding that rod. Occasionally you'll get people that will hold the rod back here. If a big fish hits that, you don't have any strength for a hook set. It's not natural nor balanced, okay? Up here, butt of the rod's here. You've got plenty of fighting power. You'll feel the difference in the rods. It's completely different than holding back here trying to reel. You will miss a ton of fish. You'll never get the hook set on them. When you go to cast, it's going to be totally out of control. So, anyways, I'm gonna ease over here to the creek real quick, and I'm gonna show you guys how to flip the bell, how to make a cast, or what have you. And like I say, it seems if you've ridden a bike, you can ride a bike again. It's the same thing with a rod and reel. Once you learn to cast, you know, you can go anywhere and do anything you want. So, all right, I'm gonna reel that jig or what have you up until it's within, in this case, I got a fluorocarbon leader. So again, I'm not gonna let that knot go through my guides. Typically you want anywhere from, I'm gonna say 10 to 24 inches out of the end of your rod. That will allow you to make a cast effectively using the rod, what it's designed for. This is a 3/8 ounce jig. This rod here goes from 1/8 to 1/2 ounce is kind of what it's designed for. But I wanted to put this jig up here, like I say, just for demonstration purposes. Always want to test your drag. If you're targeting a small fish, you may want looser drag, or tendermouth fish, you may want your drag loose. If you're targeting a big fish with a hard mouth, you need to penetrate it, you may want that drag a little bit tighter. So always test that drag before you ever start fishing. This piece on the reel is called a bell. You'll hear people say flip your bell. What I will do is I'll rotate that cylinder until I can get my pointer finger on it. It's just that simple. Grab it with your pointer finger, And you can see, divide that hand, stick it in. I just simply grab that with your pointer finger, flip that bail over. And depending on where you're at, if you've got brush, if you're on a boat or what have you, you can do overhand cast, side cast, you can pitch, you can do whatever you want to from here. Bail's open, the line can release. So I'm just gonna bring this behind my head. Notice I've got full control of that rod and reel because I've got a grip on it, okay? And you're just gonna let it roll off your finger when you make that cast. I manually flip that bail over, and then you're ready for whatever kind of retrieve that you would like to do. What I can tell you with braid is when you flip that bail, you're going to want to come tight so that you're not putting any loose line in that spool, because that's your second issue of a wind knot. Okay, you see me? That jig's actually on the bottom. I made a cast. I'm going to come tight, and then I'm going to reel down until I get ready to get in my fishing mode. You can see I've got total control of that rod if I need to set the hook. And I will drop my rod tip a little bit. I've seen people fish with the rod tip up. Well, if a fish bites that, you don't have much room to set the hook, okay? So a lot of times I'm down here with my rod tip, so that if I get a bite, I can set that hook with as much power as I need. If you don't need, if you're on a finicky fish with a paper mouth and you don't need a lot of hook set, you don't have to slam him. But just as habit, get that rod tip down. Then you can reel it in, whatever type of retrieve you're doing, whatever type of lure you're doing. Again, I'm gonna reel it up. And in this case, I do have a leader. I don't want it going through my guides. I'm gonna stop it short, rotate this bail till I can get my pointer finger on it, flip the bail. I'm gonna come right over my head, bam. Right there, I just put it on the other side of the creek. That landed on the other side of the creek without any force behind it whatsoever, hardly, just a smooth cast. You can fish that back. Again, I got my rod tip down. And in this case, the wind's kind of blowing in our face. Actually, it's blowing across sideways. But I am going to come tight on that before I reel it back in. You will not have problems with wind knots much at all if you don't put slack down in that component. And you'll see whenever I get ready to make a cast, I've got hold of the rod. I'm not single-handedly trying to make a cast. That feels extremely awkward. Rods and reels are extremely expensive now. You don't want it to fly out of your hand. If you want to make an accurate cast with some distance on it, keep in mind, you got a split grip. You can grab it two-handed. That way you can make an accurate cast to wherever you would like. If you need to cast far, if you need to cast close, like I say, the one-handed deal, I see people do it, and I try to convince them to go ahead and put that other hand up there. And then that way, if you see that fish break, 20 yards or 30 yards, you can cast to him, you can get there. With any of the rod and reels made today, the stuff they've got nice tools now. And I hope you guys picked up something from this. Like I say, if you're looking to do a charter with someone, need to learn how to cast a spinning reel before you go, or if you want to teach your kids and you're having issues with line getting jammed up, or rod and reels not casting correctly, or what have you, then just take time and see. Make sure your spools are filled all the way. I guide for a living, so that's one of my things. When a customer gets on the boat, I want to make sure those spools are full. So if they get, if they pay me and get a shot at a big fish, I don't want something to happen, not enough spool on the line or what have you. But keep your line fresh, keep them spooled up correctly, If there's not enough line, it won't cast right. If there's too much line, it won't cast right. So grab yourself a combo, take it out, hit the water, you know, give it some practice. And accuracy just comes with time on the water. The more you do it, without becoming aggravated with your lines, without mishaps and all, the better off you'll be. So give it a go. I hope those tips and techniques help you out a little bit. And if you're looking for a charter, look us up at FISHIBX.com and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're going to go through all kinds of scenarios from the pure basics like you just saw to technical fishing. So freshwater and saltwater. Check us out and appreciate you being there.